Good morning and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Mwalimu Kahodhia, an ornamental birds farmer, and I've been doing this for the last 5 years. And if you are new, please subscribe. So today, as I had agreed, we are going to look at the main diseases or the main causes of high mortality rate, especially in turkeys. And some of you, I know you have tried to keep turkeys in your farm, but they keep on dying on you, especially when they are young. So today I'm going to share with you some practical pieces of advice that over the years I have gathered from other farmers. Some of them I have read them in books. Others I have listened to YouTube videos for those people who are more experienced than me in farming. And I'm going to talk about that. The first disease that I noticed has high mortality rate is known as the blackhead. And this disease is manifested by when you see your turkeys producing some yellowish, and a bright yellow poop. And also it is manifested by when the turkeys are not able to eat, the drooping of wings, loss of appetite, and basically you look at the birds and you realize that they are not eating or feeding on anything. And what I have noticed is that actually the chicken and the guinea fowl are the carriers of this disease. So for you as a new farmer, what you need to do is to make sure that you totally separate the turkeys from chickens, because this disease does not affect the chickens, but it affects the turkeys. So what you need to do is to totally separate them. The parasite, this parasite that causes the blackhead, is transmitted in a poop of the chickens. So what the problem here is that when I look at all the drugs that are found in agrovets, is that there is no drug that combats this disease. So that is why we tend to use these flagyl tablets. Flagyl tablets, you can administer them in water, and then you feed them. You force feed your turkeys. Actually, if there is a disease that keep on frustrating the turkey farmers, is the blackhead. So for a new farmer, make sure that your turkeys are separated completely from the chicken. Even let them not share the compound until you have enough experience to be able to diagnose this disease. The other major killer of turkeys is, of course, respiratory diseases. These are diseases that are associated with you exposing your turkeys to very cold environments. And they basically manifest just like the other respiratory diseases, where you have a production of a wheezing sound. They are not able to breathe very well. There is a mucus coming out of their nostrils. But the big advantage of this condition is that we have very many broad spectrum antibiotics that can be used to treat this condition. So this one is not really such a big problem, especially in adult turkeys. Mostly it affects the poults, the young ones of the turkeys. So make sure that during the construction of the house where they will be sitting in, make sure that the door is not exposed directly to the source of the wind, because exposure to that wind is of course going to cause a very serious respiratory disease. The other issue I found with the turkeys is when you mix turkeys of different ages. For example, you mix 1 month old with 5 month and 7 month old, then you're obviously going to have some issues with that. because the older ones, they are actually going to die food the young turkeys that you have there. And eventually what is going to happen is that without proper feeding, then your birds are going to be emaciated, and then they are going to be easily picked up by these diseases, and the mortality rate is going to be very high. The other piece of advice that I would give to new farmers is the quality of feeds, because the turkeys are fast growing birds and they have high intake as compared to chicken, largely because of their sizes. So make sure that you get a good feed from the reputable companies around you. Make sure the feeds are not expired, and feed them quite a high rationing as compared to chicken. So feeding is important because of course good nutrients, balanced nutrients, clean water is a part of making sure that your birds are not suffering from diseases, because without good feed, then the growth rate is going to be very low. They are going to take longer to mature, and eventually you are going to run into losses. The other thing I've observed is that you need to constantly be on the lookout. Yeah, you need to look at the health state of your turkeys. How active are they? Because what I have noticed is that it takes a little bit of time for the turkeys to manifest these diseases until it is too late. That is why farmers complain that once the turkeys have these signs, then the best recourse is to slaughter them. But that is not always the case. Before the real symptoms appear, the ones that are very severe, there is always some kind of some small changes. The bird is isolating itself from the others. The bird is not feeding very well. The bird is coiling around. It appears as if it is shaken and shivering. Then, of course, as you get more and more experience, you'll be able to diagnose these conditions before they are life-threatening. So thank you very much for making up to this point, and I wish you a fruitful farming.